Hello, everybody, and welcome to my live stream. Hope you're doing well wherever you are, and look forward to seeing what kind of questions you guys have. I've already had a couple pop in ahead of time, and some messages have been sent. Some questions that people had wanted the answer to, but hopefully we'll have some good turnout here. So I wanted to thank everybody over the last 5 years, 5.5 years. This project has really kind of blown my mind on its reception. Even from the beginning, I really didn't expect a whole lot from this, except really just to make some songs for my nieces and nephews. And turns out a lot of people had similar passions and similar interests and loved the same songs that I did and shared those passions with me. So I've been really happy through this whole process, and really blessed by the whole thing too. So to thank you for all of your support, I've done this, and you can ask me any question that you'd like the answer to. And I also have some giveaways. So one thing I've quietly done over the last month or two was start a merch page. Really, it's because I just wanted a coffee mug for my own self. So like in 20 years, I could come back and say, hey, look at this coffee mug. Do you know what this stands for? Or whatever. But yeah, so that's on my website, acapelledridge.com. And so some of the giveaways are going to be coming from there. I made these tumblers that were really sweet, and tested having some made, and gave them to some family for for gifts. And I think they're pretty sweet. So hopefully you'll win. The way I'm going to do it is I've got a random number generator, and so based on the questions that I get, I'll randomize which one I pick as a winner. So I'll pick 5 random winners, and then whoever asks the best question, I'll just let you be the winner too. So I'll give away 6 of those like tumbler mugs. They're pretty cool. My only problem that I have is shipping internationally is very expensive, and kind of a challenge to get things over quickly. So unfortunately, I'll have to limit it to the United States this time around. But please don't let that keep you from asking any question that you have. If you are internationally, one thing that you may know, if you have seen my page on YouTube, is that the vast majority of people who follow are not in the United States. And most of them are in other places. Philippines, Kenya, Nigeria, a lot of different countries. I mean, it's all over the place, but it's not really the majority in the United States. So apologize for those folks who are watching, but please don't stop that from asking any questions. So yes, I wanted to thank you for your support. Also, it's in my close rearview mirror, the Christmas card stuff that I did. That was much bigger success than I expected. I really was blown away by your guys' support, and appreciate that so much. And I know I spoke with some of the people that I work with who were watching those cards come by, and they said residents really loved seeing where in the country and where in the world cards were coming from. I know we had one person who sent a bunch of cards from the Netherlands, and that one specifically, people were really happy to see that they were getting cards from somebody in the Netherlands who just wanted to send them cards. So I appreciated that. That was a lot of fun. So yeah, that's one thing. Number 2, I wanted to go and talk about some of my future projects that I'm planning on doing. A lot of people have asked me to do specific songs and specific things. It's kind of hard to get to everything, especially when this is not really my first job, and you could argue and say it's not my second job either. My first job is as a husband, and my second job is as a pharmacist. And this I've enjoyed doing. And when I started doing this, I wasn't married, and my work was pretty relaxed. My work is still pretty relaxed, but I just had a lot more time. I was able to pour hours and hours into this. But yeah, I just don't have as much time to do everything that people would like. Sing all the songs that people would like me to sing. But I do always appreciate the responses. And sometimes even if I can't get to the song and sing it online, I'll sing it to myself. And it's a blessing that way too. So future projects, yes. So here's a new thing. So on my last CD, there were quite a few new songs that I had done. And I don't mean just like relatively new. I mean like brand new, like nobody had ever heard them before except me and maybe a few other people. One of those, which I had made a video of, was called "The Peace of God," which was written by John Gardner and Aneva Pierce. And so I've reached out to them, and have also reached out to some other songwriters. I would really like to start doing some songwriter interviews. I'm not really crazy high tech. I basically just know enough to do what I do. So I'm kind of learning how to present that still. But when you think about your favorite songs, take for example, "It Is Well with My Soul." Everybody loves the story behind "It Is Well with My Soul." It's tragic, but it adds to the depth of the song. And so we love hearing the details and the stories behind these songs. And so I want to kind of help gather some of that and preserve some of those interviews for posterity so that in 50 years, people could go back and say, "Do you know the story behind that song?" And even hear the author and the writers of the songs speak about it themselves. Like that would be incredible. Like if we had an interview out there of Fannie J. Crosby, I guarantee you it'd have 1 billion views because people just want to know what she went through. Same thing with Annie Johnson Flint. Same thing with Horatio Spafford and all of those great hymn writers. So that's one of the future projects. Next fall, I will also be coming out with my last of the Whatever Is CDs. It's the passage from Philippians 4:8 ends with "Whatever is worthy of praise." So it'll either be called "Whatever is Worthy of Praise" or "Whatever is Praiseworthy," to keep in consistent manner with the rest of those CDs. But that's going to wrap up that series. I started that just wanting to give myself a little bit of room. And it turns out that after the first CD, I thought, well, there's a lot of people liking these songs. Maybe I should plan on doing a few more. So yeah, 8 CDs in that series, but it's going to be wrapping up this November. After that, we'll see. I know after that, one of the first things I'm going to do is a children's CD. A lot of people have been asking for that for years. Now there's some challenges with that. A lot of different kinds of children's CDs out there. I, for one, do not yet have children. Maybe someday. But so I'm kind of in the dark about like what do parents want to hear in a kid's CD? What do they like? What do they not like? What things drive them crazy if they're going to be replayed in the car for hours and hours and hours? So I'm going to be trying to reach out and get some focus groups on there from parents, just hearing some of the different things that you would really like. Do you want like my classic 4-part harmony? Do you want me to do just like 1 part? Just some of the things that I don't know, but I'm looking forward to gathering. On this CD, hoping to do at least a couple more songs with Tabitha, my sister, not my wife, my sister. I always put that in all caps, sister. Everybody always asks for more songs with Tabitha. I love Tabitha's voice. It's one of my favorites. It's just so pure and sweet. It makes me happy to hear it. Let me plug my computer in before it dies on me. Let's see. This is how you know this wasn't recorded ahead of time. Okay. Incredibly short battery on this computer. Yeah, some more songs with Tabitha. We've talked about getting back in the recording studio, doing some projects there. And this CD, I really want to do another song with all of my family. So on the CD, Whatever Is Noble, we did a recording in our old house in Connorsville of What a Friend We Have in Jesus. That was one of the most watched videos of all time. As far as my page is concerned, not all time, but acapella all time. So we're planning on doing at least one more. I've thrown that out to the rest of my family, and I think they're on board. Some of them are a little shyer than others, but I think we'll be able to get it in there. The only question is, what song are we going to do, or what songs are we going to do? There are a few that pop up in my mind. Some of them are kind of like just not songs that a lot of people sing, but are important to our family, or kind of like inside songs, inside joke kind of songs, where they mean something special to us. So I'm not sure what we'll do, but my goal is to have at least one song on this coming CD, last in the series with all of my family. And that is going to at least wrap up the future projects that I've got on my short list. I've got some other projects on my back burner, but I'm not really sure how those will pan out. So we'll see. Now, let's get to some of your questions. I'd invite more questions. I've got a bunch to catch up through, over 100 comments so far. And remind you, please put your city and state in there. I'd really love to send you some gear if your comment is one that's randomly selected to give you a free tumbler. But please put your city and state, and I'll do my best. I had originally planned to announce the winners on here, but there are a lot of comments. I feel like it's going to be a lot of dead space of me just counting comments, saying, "Okay, who's comment number 145?" And so I'll probably just reach out to you directly afterwards. But I really appreciate your comments. So let's start at the top. Ashton Sprunger says, I'm interested in what gear and software you use. So as you can see, I've got a Rode NT1A microphone here. This is what I got straight from the very beginning. When I was getting started, there's a Music Superstore literally just down the street from me. Also, there's a dog walking outside, which means my dog is going to start going nuts here in a minute. So just be ready for that if when that happens. But yeah, I got all my equipment from Sweetwater, their Music Superstore that's here in my hometown, Fort Wayne. And they said, use this mic. I said, great. And I said, what software do I need? And they said, use this software. So the software I use is called Sound One by PreSonus. And I specifically use the Prime version because it's free. And because I'm just recording vocals, I don't really need a whole lot of complicated stuff in there. It's able to give me what I need. So there's the microphone that I use. I've got a Focusrite interface device, which basically connects my microphone and my computer. And then I also, for my videos, use a program called Lightworks. And I use the free version of that, again, because, you know, I don't really need anything crazy. And even if it did have crazy capabilities, I wouldn't know how to use it. So there's some of my software stuff. Okay, next questions. Hello, congratulations. Have you looked at creating the TikTok account yet? I thought about that. Also thought about an Instagram account. Part of it just kind of boils down to the time that it takes to set it up, because I've never really used TikTok very much before. It's going to take a little bit of time and effort to build that platform, although I know some of it will happen organically. I've thought about that, but part of it is, again, this not being my first or second job. So we'll see. If I do, it'll be on Instagram, because at least with Instagram, it synchronizes very well with Facebook. They're both on the Meta platform. And so you can kind of do the same posting from there, but the kind of posts that you put on there are different and shorter. So yeah, things that I think about, but it's just not quick enough and easy enough for me to do it immediately. So often I delay it. Seth Engel says, are you a tenor or a bass? When I was in college, I sang baritone, which I guess like in high school would be called bass one. But as I have been singing more regularly, that has often turned more into, it stretched my range more. When I was in college, my upper range was probably like comfortably where I could hit it solidly was probably like an E or an E flat I was comfortable with. But since I've done this, and I guess it's as I get into the recording season and I'm recording stuff more frequently, my range stretches more than I thought it would. So like on the song, The Lord Bless You and Keep You, that one I got up to a G, which I was very surprised by, but it worked. But then also in that same song, my bass stretched down to a low C. And that doesn't always happen. Sometimes I can get that low depending on the syllable that I'm singing. But basically I'm a baritone, but my range has stretched higher and lower than I thought it would, just because singing more regularly. Crazy Singson says, love from India. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. I get a lot of comments from folks from India, which is pretty awesome to me. I'd really love to come visit someday. We'll see. Blessings from Augsburg, Germany. Would also really love to go to Augsburg. A lot of religious history there. Okay. Oh, Arwen says, what is your favorite song that I have sung? I've got a lot of favorites. One of my first favorites that comes to mind is I've not made a video of it. It's called "Lead Kindly Light." That one is just smooth to sing, um, and I don't often go back and listen to the songs that I've recorded. Just I don't know why. I just don't always enjoy hearing the sound of my own voice. It gets kind of monotone in my mind, and I'm probably my own worst critic. But I do enjoy singing that one. That one I enjoy. "Lead Kindly Light." So that's the one I'll go with. But I've had a lot of fun singing a lot of these songs. Um, I mean, the 90 and 9 was a lot of fun. That's one of those that like pumps you up like while you're singing. Really, really enjoyed that. And there are a lot of other ones like it. Um, Anyone ever tell you look like a much younger, more handsome Pastor Steven Anderson? No, you're the first. Thanks, Anthony. Appreciate that. Hello, Michael Eldridge von Acapelridge. May I ask how long it take you to get from 1 until 500,000? So I started in July of 2017. Facebook grew a lot faster because that spreads by word of mouth a lot faster. YouTube takes a lot longer, but its growth is expanded over a long period of time. My Facebook views and growth in my platform, their followers have basically stuck around 325,000 for the last year or two. Slowly growing, but basically everybody who's going to see me has seen me on Facebook. But YouTube, there's a lot longer growth. So that's taken a long time, but that's the one that's growing still now. And from all over and it's probably because it's from all over the place. Most of the people who are going to see me in the United States have already seen me. And that's why I've only got like 15% of my total YouTube viewers in the United States. Now, like the Philippines is bigger than the United States. Kenya is bigger. Nigeria is bigger. Indonesia is bigger. Brazil is pretty high up there too. So lot of places like that. God bless your program, Pastor Mark from Laguna, Philippines. So there's one of my Filipino friends who I am very thankful for. Simona Claudia Rosu says, "Praise the Lord. Congratulations." Totally agree with you. Totally agree. Always appreciate your support, Claudia. Am I going to keep singing? Yes, I hope so. Now I'm not really sure what it's going to look like after this new CDs, the CD that comes out this fall and the children's CD. We'll see what it looks like after that. Maybe it's just going to be posting videos and maybe a CD down the road that I compile and put on Spotify or whatever. But we'll see. What's the most difficult part for you to sing one at a time? Tenor kills me, especially in songs that just kind of linger around middle C. Typically it just kills me. I have to take breaks singing those. Alto can also be very difficult. Now, most of the time I'm in my head voice for that, so it's not vocally draining, but some songs just sit like right in the vocal break where you're not full voice, but you're not head voice either. You're not falsetto. And so it's really, really hard to hear the song, the note come through. So both of those can be hard. Bass is the easiest. I love singing bass. Very little vocal fatigue, and I can just sit back and enjoy it. Greeting from Groningen in the Netherlands. Greatly appreciate your support. Are you married? Yes, I am married. Wedding ring. Woohoo! And her name is Emily. Emily is awesome. She's my best friend. How long do you think before the church goes up? I'm not sure because I don't understand your question. However, you are from Cincinnati, Ohio, which is very close to where I was born. I was born in Oxford, Ohio, and Cincinnati is the home of Skyline Chili. And Skyline Chili runs through my veins. So thank you for your comments. I'm sorry I don't understand your question, but I appreciate it. What Christian denomination do you belong to? I'm a part of the Church of Christ. How many in your family sing? Well, we all sing to some degree. Now, my immediate family, my sister sings soprano, Tabitha. My mom, Lisa, sings alto. My dad, Ralph, sings tenor or lead. And then my brother, Jeremy, sings bass. So in my immediate family growing up, we all sang. But then my aunts and uncles and cousins and my grandparents, some of them would say they don't sing as much, but I grew up singing with them in church. We all went to church together and all sang together. And so, like in songs like "The Walls Came Tumbling Down," I have vivid memories of sitting there in church and hearing, when it's the alto's turn to come in. I hear my Aunt Lori, the alto comes in. There's the alto, and then the soprano, Aunt Rhonda, comes in. And then the bassists come in. There's Jonathan and Matthew coming in, my cousins. So just a lot of family memories, my immediate family and my extended family. Do I have a particular hymnal or source, Erica Steed says, that my music draws out of? So my default, I just use the book that I grew up singing because I know the numbers for all the songs. And that's the Hymns for Worship book by R.J. Stevens. But now I also have gotten a lot of enjoyment from the Psalms and Hymns and Spiritual Songs songbook by Melody Publications. A lot of the songs that I sing, you'll notice, are sponsored by them, and they come from their hymn book. I've really enjoyed singing out of theirs. I also have Psalms, Hymns, and Spiritual Songs, not to be confused with Psalms and Hymns and Spiritual Songs. That's a great one. There's a lot of good folks doing some great work. Symphonia's got some great songbooks out there that they've shared with me that I've enjoyed singing out of. So great question, Erica from Nagadoches. Are there really 4 of you singing? There's me 4 times. Although in a couple songs, I add an extra part. For example, Our God, He is Alive. If you look at the songbook, you'll notice in the chorus that there is a 3-part split in the female part. So I split it 3 parts. Now, there are only 4 of me singing in the video, but on the audio, there are 5 parts at the very end in the chorus of that song. When did you discover that you had this gift? Dave and Evie Scott say, I guess I've always sung. I wanted to do song leading in church when I was a kid, probably because I saw my dad do it. And so I saw him, I saw him do it. I wanted to do it myself. My uncle also led singing, Uncle Jim. And so I've always just wanted to naturally, but it wasn't really until I was in high school, that a really good friend of mine named Josh Greason and his mother, Chris, and his father, Wayne, they were big in choir. And they said, you've got to do choir. And I don't know why I hadn't done it. I was in band because my brother was in band. He's 6 years older than me. He did band. And so I grew up thinking, well, I want to be like my brother. I'll be in band. So I was in band, not choir. I didn't do choir in junior high, really. But my friend Josh, he said, you've got to do it. And so he kind of helped introduce me and took me under his wing and kind of just, I was nervous, but he helped me see that I would enjoy doing it. And he was absolutely right. And then, so that was my sophomore, junior, and senior year in high school. And then when I was, finishing up high school and deciding where I was going to go for college, I'd always wanted to go to Purdue. And so I went for a school visit to Purdue and had not planned on auditioning for the Glee Club, but got convinced to audition for the Glee Club. And they basically said, yeah, you're welcome to be a part of the group. So I said, well, I guess I'm going to be in the Glee Club now. So there's kind of a short story of my history in singing. What motivated you to start making your own videos? What was the first gospel song you posted on YouTube? Great question from Randall Dice. What motivated me? I've always wanted to do something like this. My sister, when I was younger, gave me a copy of a CD by the Geyer brothers, who are a group of brothers. I think they're in Indianapolis, Louisville area, in the Midwest. We'll say they're probably spread out in other places now, but and their CD was called One Voice, and it was 4-part harmony. And I remember, as soon as I had a car, I put that CD in the car. And as people in high school often do, they crank up the volume really loud. So I would listen to that CD and just belt it out with them. And I just loved it. And I often had the thought in my mind, especially as you see people on YouTube doing certain similar things like this. I thought, I'd really like to do something like that. Now, I had no idea how it would come about. It wasn't until a friend of mine showed me an app on my phone called Acapella, where you can, very rudimentary app, plug in each of your 4 voices. It's kind of clunky, but I was able to at least just see what it would look like. And that was enough for me to be like, okay, I really want to do this. First gospel song I posted on YouTube. Oh, on YouTube. Well, specifically YouTube, I don't know. I guess you'd have to go back and look. I mean, the first big one was "It Is Well with My Soul." That, and I saved that until I kind of got an idea of how to do it the way I wanted it. Now, I will say, learning how to do this was a process. It took long hours into the night for several weeks before I finally got the sound that I was looking for, which was basically just figuring out how to use the equipment. The first song that I heard, that I had made, that I heard and I thought, yes, this is the sound I'm looking for, was Jesus' Name Above All Names. I remember listening to that. I work with a music producer in Brooklyn, New York, named Steven Shoebrooks, who, if you've ever bought any of my CDs, I give a lot of acknowledgement to him. He is incredible. Without him, I would not have been able to do any of this. But anyway, so I'd been working back and forth, sending audio clips to him, and he sent a file back to say, okay, what do you think about this? And I remember getting that email. It was around midnight, but I opened it up and listened to it, and I just listened to it on repeat for about 3 hours until about 3 a.m. It just made me really, really happy because I thought this is something that I could do a lot more of. So there's an extended answer to your short question. Thanks for that, Randall. Coming up on 26 minutes, and if you know anything about me, you know I have the tendency to be long-winded. So I apologize for that in the future. I'll try to wrap this up before too long, but also get to your questions. Memories of singing for a public audience. Probably elementary school. I was in some choir programs and stuff there. Thanks for your question, Woody. Who's your favorite gospel songwriter and why? David Kean says from Fort Mojave, Arizona. Favorite gospel songwriter. It's really hard to pick. Most of my favorites from there come from knowing the stories behind them. Um, I'll select one arbitrarily. Annie Johnson Flint. You should look up her story. She wrote the lyrics for "He Giveth More Grace." Now, I made a video of that song, and that was written. The music for that was written by a friend of mine named Tim Berman, and so he took an old set of lyrics and put some new music to that. And as soon as I heard that music, I thought that it almost just brings tears to your eyes. So look up Annie Johnson Flint. Her story is incredible. And then go back and listen to "He Gives Us More Grace." That's a great one. But there are tons of incredible songwriters out there. How much time do you need on average to produce a song? Marcus from Austria says, I would say probably, let's say 2 hours. And it can obviously take a little bit longer if it's a much more complicated song, or it might be shorter if it's an easy song. Pretty straightforward, not a lot of vocal demand, not very complicated, so I'm not messing up and having to restart again. So I would say an hour, maybe an hour and a half to do the vocals, and then once I put the video together, that's probably another hour. So we'll say 2 hours, something around there. You write songs, which is your favorite? I'll tell you mine. When I Go Home, Iona says. I do enjoy When I Go Home. That one's special to me. Now, there's another one which I've written and I've not put out yet, which I'm planning on putting out on this CD. I've been holding it in my back pocket for a while. It's called Hear My Cry. That one I like better than When I Go Home. But as I have learned more about songwriting and had some great help from different songwriting individuals, it's made me want to hold off a little bit and make sure I get it right. Because as soon as you put a song out there, you can't take it back. You can't go back and edit it then, because then people are going to be singing different versions. You want people to sing the same version the whole time around. So I've been holding off, but my goal is to release that on my next CD, which answers Linda Graham's question. Are you writing any more songs? Yes, from Birchville, Michigan. Not very far from me in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Let's see. At what age could you sing all 4 parts? Well, that's a great question. Because I never really tried. Mary Ellen Cole-Pisey says. It probably wasn't until I was in college where I was able to sing, I sang baritone, but you could also sing bass. It was, yeah. So that's a good answer. So it was in college that I feel like I learned how to harmonize properly. The way that we sang was very barbershop like style. Sharp harmonies, really, really close knit, deep, um, resonant harmonies. So I had never really sung alto before, but I guess learning to sing the way that I did in college kind of gave me that ability a little bit. So when I started doing some of this stuff, I started doing the harmonies for the alto part, and that took a little bit of time to figure out the sweet spot there because a guy singing alto sometimes is strange to the ears, and so you got to figure out how to just lay it in there nice and gently, and then just set it in the background so it's not the first thing that you hear. But then sometimes you've got those songs where like you have an alto that's isolated, and that's pretty scary to me. Like "The Lord Bless You and Keep You," or there was another one that I did recently, whereas "Sicut Cervus." So that was the Latin one that I did. It's pretty high up there for me. The alto in that part is pretty scary for me, but I just wanted to do that song. Okay. Anyways, getting away from the points. Susan says, "No question here, just appreciation." Thanks, Susan. Appreciate you too. How do you find your songs? Caleb Schurter says, "My question: How do you find your songs, and what song pools do you pull them from?" I pull them from a song pool of 30 years of experience of singing these songs. But there are often songs that I've not heard before, and so a lot of people will send me songs they've written. Sometimes I'll hear a song from a group that I've not heard before. Symphonia often does regular recordings on an annual basis, and a lot of the songs they sing are new. So that there's a good number there. There's also a group on YouTube which you should definitely check out called the Timeless Psalter. They do incredible work. I love their stuff, and they do not have nearly enough of a following on YouTube as they deserve. One of the songs that I sang on my last CD, "My Soul Waits," came from me hearing their page. And it just so happened that when I reached out to them, there were a couple connections that we had in common. So I was able to kind of get to know them a little bit and hear some of the backstory of there's another person that I'm hoping to interview in my songwriter interviews later this year. But yeah, I mean, the songs come from a lot of different places, but I've kind of got a list in my head of songs that I'd really love to do. When I first started doing this, I made an Excel spreadsheet of songs I really want to do, and I separated it out by speed so that I could diversify. If I were to do it on a CD, I could say, okay, I need some slow songs, need some fast songs. Here's a good pool to pick from. And I went back to that spreadsheet maybe a year ago, and it seemed like I hadn't been following up on it, but I had done probably about half of those songs I wanted to do. But I mean, there's a lot of songs I still want to do. The new song, for example, is one that's been on my bucket list, so to speak, since I first started this, but it's a challenging one. So I've been, I've been pushing it off, but I'll definitely have to do it on this coming CD. Mary Masters says, "Thanks for including lyrics with your singing. We volunteer in nursing homes. Your music should be in every nursing home." Greatly appreciate that comment, Mary. As you all may know, I work in long-term care pharmacy very closely with nursing homes, assisted living, and skilled nursing facilities. So I always appreciate it when people who share that same passion for those folks come around. What's your process for choosing a hymn, publishing the video? Ashton Sprunger, Fort Wayne, Indiana. Had no idea. Ashton writes another great question. But yeah, I kind of already answered that. I've kind of got a database in my own mind that I pick from. And then publishing the video. So there are a lot of songs that I've loved that I've not made videos of. Another one that comes to mind is "There Is a Sea." I think that was on Whatever's Pure. That's a fantastic question. A fantastic song that I've not made a video of. And I just can't make videos of all of them, or, if I could, it would just take too long. Blessings from Washington State. MJ Forster says, "Our 4 and 2-year-olds love your music and are learning hymns with us." And that's the exact kind of thing I had in mind when I started this project. I really just wanted my nieces and nephews to have something to listen to, because there's so much garbage out there you can listen to. I thought if they're going to listen to something, let it be something wholesome. And So thank you so much for putting these songs to good use with your children. David, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your last name. Jordan says, "Would you be willing to come to Romania for a concert?" I would be willing to come to Romania to visit, but I don't really do concerts. A lot of people have asked about that. I've just never really envisioned it as what I would like to branch into. I feel like that kind of takes it to a different level, takes it to a different place, and I feel pretty happy and content with where this is right now. So probably would not come to Romania for a concert, but I would absolutely consider coming to visit. And if I do, I hope you'll give me some good places and good tips to visit. Okay, let's see. Greetings from Nassau, the Bahamas. Yeah, stay warm there. It's like 20 degrees out here in Fort Wayne, where I am. Uganda, I enjoy your songs. Glad to hear it. Which part is hardest for you to sing one at a time? Bob Pay says, yeah, probably tenor or alto, as I mentioned. Do you have perfect pitch? Karen Salter Vasquez says in San Antonio, Texas. No, I don't have perfect pitch. I have what I would call relative pitch. I can typically get within a half step of the correct pitch. If you were to ask me to sing on any given note, I could get fairly close. Which begs the question then, how do my songs have really good pitch? Hopefully I won't take too long in this. I've divulged a lot of information and gone behind the scenes here. Before I do any vocal recording, I play a metronome on my phone, and the app that I listen to, I think it's just called Metronome. You can speed it up or slow it down while it's clicking. I will basically sing the song in my head and hold my phone up to this microphone and play each click track, and basically just go through the entire song on a click track, slowing it up or speeding it, slowing down, speeding up as I need to. After I've done that, then I will play the piano part for each individual part. And I've got an electric keyboard that I got from my sister, shout out Tabitha. And it's got a setting for pipe organ. I particularly like the pipe organ because it's got a really forward pitch, very good sharp harmonies with pipe organ. And then once I've recorded every single part, I will go back and listen to all of one part at a time. So I'll typically start with lead, and I will listen to the piano part and the metronome. So that one keeps me on pitch, and two keeps me in proper meter rhythm. And so that way, when I put it all together, it sounds like it's supposed to. The harmonies lock in, the meter locks in. It took a long time to figure out how to do that. I explained it in like 30 seconds, but it took me weeks to figure that out. I mean, I didn't know how to do it. If you don't have the metronome, then like the parts, no matter how hard you try, they don't come in perfectly. You have, you're trying to end a word and S's are just dragging, T's and hard consonants all over the place. And it's just a mess. So it took me a while to figure that out. But because I do all that work ahead of time, it makes it easier and makes the product cleaner on the back end. Ernie Hayes says, are you a member of the Church of Christ? Yes, I am a member of the Church of Christ in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Were you professionally trained as a musician? Professionally is a strong word. No, I took piano lessons when I was a kid. I was in band in high school. I sang in choir in high school, and I sang in the Glee Club at Purdue. But more than any of that, I learned how to sing and how to read music, singing in church with my family. That's what I attribute the greatest amount of my success to. Sarah Bewley says, will you do a duet with your wife? You will have to convince her of that. My advice would be not to hold your breath on that one. I think she's pretty happy with me doing this, and she's probably not going to do it anytime soon. Now I tell her, I say, you've got a good voice, but she says, no, I don't have a good voice. You've got a good voice. No, I don't have a good voice. So I don't think she'll do it, but who knows? Maybe I can wear her down in the next decade or two. We'll see. Enjoy every song. Be blessed. Marietta from, I'm sorry, I'm probably mispronounced that. Marietta. I'm sorry. But you're from South Africa, and that's awesome. South Africa is one of those places where I've got a lot of people who follow my recordings. That yeah, I'd really love to go visit. Have some friends who visited there. What order do you record in? As I mentioned, while I'm doing these tracks, I'm listening to the piano parts, listening to the metronome. I do 2 tracks for each part. So typically, I will do lead first, and then bass, and then tenor, and then alto. And then I will go back and do them again. And so that way, the second time around, I'm able to listen to my previous vocal recordings. So I'm not just singing with a piano, but I'm actually singing with a voice. Now, if I'm going back the second time around, typically I'll do like it in reverse order. Then I'll do alto and then tenor, or tenor, then alto. And then I'll do bass, and then I'll do the lead at the end. And most of the time I have to take breaks between those. But yeah, and as I'm going through the second time around, if I'm singing the bass the second time, I will drop the first bass out. So I'm not listening to the bass again. I'm basically just listening to the other 3 parts I've recorded. And that kind of helps me focus. Otherwise, it's weird to sing bass as myself with my own self singing bass. It kind of throws me off. So I just drop out the previous parts I've sung. Millie Arnold says, hello, I'm blessed by your channel. I found it 2 years ago after my husband went to be with the Lord. May God bless you, Millie. I listen every day. Thank you and God bless. A favorite is It Is Well With My Soul. A favorite of many, many others as well. George says, how can we download your songs? My songs are available in just about every digital media platform out there. They're available on iTunes, Apple Songs, Amazon Music, Spotify, YouTube. You can download MP3 files of my songs. If you go to my website, agapeldridge.com, and click find a CD or all CDs or whatever it is, it will take you to the Melt the Heart website. Melt the Heart is a bookstore, small bookstore in Fairbury, Illinois that I work with. Some great people who've become friends of mine. And they have all of the MP3s available on their website that you can buy and do whatever you want with. So yeah, there are a lot of different ways you can find my music. Do you have a list of songs that are close to your heart that you go to when you feel down or need encouragement? That's a great question, Iona says. I don't have a list per se. But because I've been singing these songs, as I mentioned, my whole life, they just readily come to mind. They're near to my heart. So if I see a situation happen in life, or a difficult circumstance happen in life, or a set of words, that I find in whatever form, it often reminds me of a song. So having familiarity with the songs makes it easy to bring them back up to mind when I feel down or need encouragement. Now, there's some also songs that I have strong memories with, where there's one song in particular that the number of times I've been able to sing it without crying is, I can probably count on one hand. And that song is Alleluia. Just a very simple song, but every time that song is sung, I hear my aunt's voice. My aunt passed away in 2009 from breast cancer, and she was a incredible soprano. And so every time we sing that song, I hear her voice. And so that one is it's got a special place when I feel down, need encouragement. Yeah. And I'm sure you feel the same way. You have songs that you have strong memories with because of people in your life who have gone. I'm sure you can hear their voices too. At what age did you discover your talent? Rose says. Difficult to answer. We'll say high school. Kind of talked about that a little bit earlier. Let's see. Keep on going down. Kelvin Samakai says, I like it as well. With my God, that hymn is my is my best. That hymn is my best. It is well with my soul, I think he means. Yeah, it's a classic song. All right, Karen says, can you program where we can see the whole thing or select a particular part to hear the pitch of it alone? This is probably the most common question I get. A lot of people really want to hear each individual part. I've been considering it. Part of it is just the work that will go into it. And then the next question is, how do I present it? I don't really like the idea of doing that like on Facebook and YouTube the way that I have, because a large portion of putting songs out on social media like this um, is in hearing the song in its fullness. And so I feel like that's not necessarily conducive with putting out videos of each individual part. Um, that might be a little distracting, abrasive to the ears. Now, one thing we have considered doing is basically, if I was able to take the time to separate out each individual part and alter the balance for each of individual one, basically selling them as like a bulk set. Just put them on an MP3 file, which I've talked about. My friends at Melt the Heart, we've talked about doing that, and then just say, hey, here's everything on a USB, and use it for yourself. For your, a lot of people have choirs they want to do that with, where they need to separate it out by part. Maybe I'll do it for that. But again, like all of the things that I could do, most of it just boils down to time commitment. So yes, that's a question I get all the time, and I think about often. And maybe one of these days, I'll just get around to it and do it. Okay, let's keep on going. We're probably 80% way through our comments. I'm not gonna go any further than an hour. I mean, I had originally thought, hey, let's just do 20 minutes, but I can't stop talking, so I should have known better. Okay, let's see. I don't understand. Benita Mungwazi says, I don't understand. Do you sing alone? Or are four of you just looking the same? From Johannesburg, South Africa. It's just me. It's just me. And I will record one video of myself, and then I'll record another video of myself, and another video, and another video, and then I staple them all together. And so if you look closely on the YouTube videos, you can see the lines dividing the different forms of myself on the screen, where I'm in different places. Now, even if I do the very best I can, often, and this is part of my own limitation because I'm just not that good at technology and this kind of stuff, you're going to see the lines. So yeah, I'm just one person, but I multiply myself out 4 times. Karen, you've been popping around here a lot today. Good ideas on the interviews and even on new riders for posterity. Thank you. I appreciate that. Hopefully we'll have a lot of people who watch those videos. We'll see. Faith Piro says from Bentonville, Arkansas, how many times do you go through a song before you record it? Does it just depend? Yeah, it just depends. Now, I mean, for difficulty's sake, so take, for example, another song I've not done a video of called The Spacious Firmament on High. That was one of the hardest songs to record ever, but it was on my bucket list and I really wanted to do it. It took me forever to do that. And eventually I just had to get to the point where I said, whatever it is what it will be. And that's okay. So that one took me a long time, but certain songs are really easy. How many times do I go through it? Now, some songs I know really well. So like, I don't need to take time going through the song thinking, okay, where am I going to breathe? Where am I going to slow down in this song? Looking for any musical discrepancies, because when you change from soprano, alto, tenor, bass to 4 guys singing, it changes the harmony structure a little bit. We're a bass clef bass harmony structure. So, but if I know the song really well, typically I can just say, okay, I know what this is. Just jump right in and go sing it really quickly. But it just depends. You never know. Like I said earlier, one of those songs which I've been putting off for a long time because I know it's going to be complicated is the new song. And I will do it. I'll do it this year. We'll see how it goes. Okay. Are you going to show us your new studio? I sent a brief picture of it. If you go back through my Facebook post, you'll see I did a version of a picture of Milo. And that's my studio in the background there. But may or may not do a video. When are you going to sing His Eyes on the Sparrow? I might do that for this next CD. That's one of those that's been on my short list. That's special to my family. Okay, let's see. Wayfaring Strangers, another song I've been listening to a lot lately. I love that one a lot. That was the one that was on my CD that my sister gave me. Let's see. My husband is a retired pharmacist. Kathy Rittman says, how do you decide which songs to publish? Typically, it's just the ones that I like the best or that I think fit the best in a CD. So I try to get a little of a lot, a few different things, some balance in my CDs. So I make a little spreadsheet when I'm putting all of my songs together. Will you do a duet with your wife? Sarah Bewley says, again, probably not, but we'll see. I'm going to keep trying. Eventually, I'll get her. The Tower Time says, can you sing the Psalms in the original language of Hebrew and at the English like they do with Feliz Navidad, Apache, Oklahoma? I would love to do that. I am hoping to sing some of the Psalms. Now, singing them in Hebrew will probably be hard to do. But singing through the Psalter is something that is on my short list to do. Okay, I'm going to have to cut it off here before too long. Children's CD, Faith Piro says, yes, agreed. Aside from social media, how do you intend to help souls perishing and do not have access to social media? That's a great question. One that I'm not sure I can answer abruptly, but I think the way we spread the gospel is by reaching out to the people in our own lives, people who we know, and by having courage to say things that might be difficult in a way that is tactful and in a way that is loving. I think that's the best way to share the gospel, and I think that's what God calls us to do. Have I recorded Stepping in the Light? No, I have not. Trail White says, was there a special reason, influence for your writing When I Go Home, Fairview, Tennessee? Hold on just one sec. Got to send a message real quick. Okay. Was there a special reason / influence for your writing When I Go Home? Yes. There are several members of the body of Christ who came to my mind when I thought about that song, who I know deal with chronic illness, young people who are going to be dealing with this the rest of their lives. And as I thought about them, I thought about the difficulty of their physical circumstances. I tried to put myself in their situation and think about the moment that Jesus comes back. In the moment he appears and the light from heaven shines, I'll forget every fear and every pain I'll leave behind. One of my favorite books was the Screw Tape Letters by C.S. Lewis, and he talks about, from the perspective of somebody who dies, and as soon as they die, they see life for what it is. They see the devil and his temptations for what they really are. And they just shed the physical flesh as if it were an old scab. And they just don't look back. And every question that they have is answered. And everything is brought into the appropriate frame of view. And every tear is wiped away when we go home. So that was what came to my mind when I wrote that song. I had some brothers and sisters in Christ in my mind. Focus group volunteer here. MJ Forrester says, awesome. Stay tuned for that. I will definitely be reaching out for more focus group stuff. Probably 1 or 2 more minutes here. My voice is starting to go because I'm just talking forever. But I really appreciate you guys stopping by. I've had so much fun doing this. I don't do videos live stream very often. I think I've only done it once before. It was during COVID. But I really appreciate you guys stopping by. Hopefully you'll enjoy going back and listening here and there. Ariana H says, I knew she was your sister. Glad that you did, because not everybody does. A lot of people say, oh, I love seeing a husband and wife sing together. Like, she's not my wife. She's my sister. But, you can't, you do everything you can. You can't stop it. When's the next song video? I'm hoping to put one out in the next couple weeks. It will probably be a video of one of the newer songwriters who I've done. So Safe Thus Far is one that I did on my last CD that I loved by Stephen Rouse. Great songwriter. And really, really enjoyed him sharing that song with me. And then My Soul Waits. I also really want to do a video of that. So it'll probably be one of those 2 songs, and that will probably dovetail into one of the songwriter interviews that I'm planning on doing this year. Transcriptions of my music, Seth Engel says, Question I also get a lot: where can we get your sheet music? Almost always directly from the hymnal. I rarely ever deviate and do anything different from the original music. Sometimes I will change one note here or there, but it's always within the same, almost always within the same chord structure of the originally written harmony. It's just like I said, when I'm taking a song that was meant to be sung by women and men and changing it to just men, it often I'm singing the same note twice, and there's no point in doing that. So yeah, just go to the hymnal. That's where you'll find most of the songs that I've written. Have I thought about collabing with other artists in your genre? Independence, Kansas. Thanks, Jay Brock. Great question. I've thought about that. A couple people have reached out. But again, most of it just boils down to the time that it would take to do it, and some of those logistics. It's just, I don't have all that much time to do as much as I would like to do, and so coordinating with somebody else, I'm not against it. It just most of the time just boils down to time. So that's what's kind of kept me from doing it. Oh man. So I thought I was 80% of the way through, but my comment bar had not opened up. So yeah, I've got a lot more comments, but unfortunately, I'm just not able to get to them. But thank you all so much for your comments. I've already come up on an hour, which is just way more than I expected I would ever do here. But I really appreciate your guys' time. I really appreciate your support. You guys have made doing this a lot of fun, and it's brought a lot of blessing in my life. The thing that I will say is, as I close out here, the thing that I'm reminded of the most as I do this is that this is something small that I am able to do, that God, who is a mighty God, is able to take and put in a whole lot more places. He's able to bring it to people who need to hear these songs and their messages at the right point in time. And I've gotten so many messages from people who say, I've been going through something really hard, and I found your song and it was a blessing. That's God. That's not me. I've done the very little things that I can do, and I just put it out there. But that's God who is at work. And so let my encouragement to you be of the same thing. If you're thinking about what you're able to do in the kingdom, do it boldly, do it bravely. Go out there and be courageous, and pray that God would use what you're able to do to his glory. And I promise you that he will. God will be glorified to the utmost. And that's something that I'm always reminded of, and something that I'm thankful for. And I'd say the thing that I'm the most thankful for in doing this project, it's allowed me to see God's hand at work in the small things that I've been able to do. So hopefully we'll do some more stuff like this. Like I said, stay tuned. Hope to do some new fun videos, songwriter interviews, some songs with my sister, songs with my family, and stay tuned. So I will make a post sometime in the next day or two announcing the people who won. I will reach out to you directly to get a mailing address. But thank you guys so much for your time. I really appreciate you guys an awful lot. Wherever you are, may God bless you, and may God put you to work in his mighty kingdom. All right. We'll see you guys later. Thanks.